Awesome sauce. All righty. So as a preliminary matter, this is Chantal Boyce-Murphy, Director of Culture and Tourism, acting as supporting staff. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda and present can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Michael Kopko. Sorry, Mike, we can't hear you, and unfortunately, they're very strict. We have to hear you. I think you're muted.
Sorry, my computer was freaking out. Here.
Hello, nice to see you again. I get to see Michael twice in one day. And Tony Wagner.
Here.
And I promise that's the last time I'm going to ask you to speak, so you can rest your voice. Emma Young.
Here.
And Ava Rollins.
Here.
Awesome. And staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. This is always so odd because I'm talking to myself and I am here. We have no anticipated speakers on the agenda today. So good afternoon. This open meeting of the Nantucket Cultural Council is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comments. For this meeting, the Nantucket Cultural Council is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business. Oh, sorry, thought I saw someone pop up. Of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Fortunately, we have none this afternoon. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And then after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their name and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. And Madam Chair, I yield the floor.
Thanks, Chantal. Thanks everyone for being here. And we did roll call already. So we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting, March 14th. Did everyone have a chance to look at those?
Move approval.
Okay, can we get a second?
Approval. Approved.
Okay, anyone opposed? All right, those are approved. Now we can look at our spring reception. Does anyone have updates on that?
I had a brief meeting with Chantal. She probably wants to tell you more about it. And the only issue we really is kind of outstanding is how the pouring works and how the wine gets here. Interestingly, I had a meeting with the film festival who's going to be using us as a venue immediately after, and they had the same question. I know there's a way to do it. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the town of Nantucket between them, as you know, run like a finely tuned Swiss watch. But somebody somewhere knows how it all works. So, and I'm hoping to leave that to Chantal to talk to the licensing folks about that.
Yes, I'm going to get to the bottom of that for you because I can't buy alcohol, and I think it's going to be a very odd cocktail party if we can't serve anything at all. So I do have a winery that wants to donate some wine to us. I just have to figure out how to go about doing it in a way that appeases both the state and the town, and of course doesn't get White Heron in any trouble. So Michael, as soon as I figure that out, I'll get back to you on that.
Whatever you need from us, Chantal, if we need to receive the wine or sign for the wine or accept the wine or something, just let me know.
Okay, will do for sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. As far as the rest of it goes, there was one little hiccup about catering tents and whatnot. Luckily, Michael had a solution for me, so I'm really excited about that bit. I'm really happy that we don't have to rent one because they're making it available. Theirs available to us. We've decided on Nantucket Island Creations as the caterer for this event. They had the most favorable price for it, and they're super flexible. They've been really easy to work with, which is really nice. So I'm excited for that part.
Chantal,
Tony,
will they be supplying bartender support?
they can, yeah, they can if we need one. They did offer that, but I wanted to talk to you first before I confirm that piece for you.
Okay, yeah, if they could,
you.
our bartender isn't really, I don't think on duty quite then.
Okay, awesome. And we're keeping it super simple. It's just beer and wine as well, which makes it a lot easier on us.
Beer, huh?
No beer. I mean, we
Beer
could just
beer outside.
beer outside. Okay.
No beer
it-
on wood floors.
Okay. How about this? It's just going to be wine. We're going to make life easier because I can't rely on everyone to know not to bring it inside, and I would hate for there to be any accidents because you're being so generous in offering us your space. So no beer. It'll just be wine.
Yeah, we don't even sell beer at our bar for that reason because of the wood floors.
Okay. Are there any issues with red wine?
We don't sell red wine, but since we're not going to be in the theater, we're just going to be in the lobby and outdoors, then I think that's going to be fine.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. And oh yeah, Tony, I'm hoping that you can still supply me with, you don't have to speak, you can just nod, yay or nay, with some kiddos.
Yeah, I could say some. Maybe, yeah, we can find somebody. I'm sure. I haven't asked anybody yet, but we always have somebody available for something.
Awesome. And I forgot to share the invite to you guys. Ava, I did work on the invitation a little bit. Once you told me you were working in Canva, I was like, okay, I'm not going to harass her anymore. I'll just work on something. So I went in there and judged it a little bit and added some updated logos and whatnot. So I'll email that to you guys just so you can take a look at it.
Great.
I'd love to make that live, send the invitation out by the end of this week. I did see that some of you were in the guest list that Emma had shared, updating it, which I really appreciate. If you could just take one more look at it before Friday and let me know if it's good to go, then I'm going to send it off. I do have some state representatives that I met last week at a Mott event that were really excited about us having our grant reception, and they requested to be invited. So I'm going to be inviting them. We'll see if they actually show up. But I think it would be really nice to have those folks who are advocating for us at the State House for funding to be at this, to see that, we're putting those funds to good use and meet a lot of you guys who are running these nonprofit organizations and cultural organizations that are doing such great work.
Do you have the theater's logo?
I found one. If you have a proper one that you prefer us to use, please send it to me.
Okay.
But I did find one in one of our folders that we have.
All right, I have one that's a pretty high resolution.
Please, thank you. And that's kind of all I have. If anybody has any questions on that.
That sounds great. What did we decide upon for kind of the format? Like, do you need us to work on any materials, or is it just going to be kind of a cocktail party chatting thing?
I think it's going to be mostly a cocktail party chatting, but I do think that it would be really nice if you guys, if you decide that the co-chairs or elect someone that can just welcome everyone to it, and then nothing crazy, like 2 minutes, welcome, this is that, and keep it moving. trying to avoid having people with microphones for too long, especially
Yeah.
when there's one.
Oh, Chantal, one other thing. Cups or glasses it would be good if we could provide one or the other.
So we have on the list to rent glasses and water cups.
Right, okay.
Awesome.
And we did get a quote from TJ or TJ, the gentleman that does party rentals. We got a quote from him
TJ.
already. Thank you. So that all of that's squared away. Michael, the thing I forgot to mention to you, because I didn't know that you had those lovely like bistro chairs for outside. We were gonna rent some high tops.
Mhm.
Is that okay, or bless you? Is that okay if we get some high top?
Yeah, it's up to you. I mean, a couple of high tops in the lobby might be good, but we've got I don't know, a dozen tables and chairs outside, something like
Okay.
that.
Maybe I'll tell them to skip the all of, because I think we were gonna do 6 of them, some for inside, some for outside. So maybe the tables and chairs outside, and then these 2 high tops for inside. Okay. Thank you.
And Chantal, in terms of we had decided to set aside some of our funding money to
Mhm.
use. Do you need us to figure out how to request for that, or is that something you can do like once you have receipts and stuff?
Yeah, once I have receipts, I can just submit the receipts the same way we do with grants. You just submit
Okay.
the receipt. You just get, David would put it in differently.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Is there anything else about the reception? Anything else we need to be working on for the next time we meet?
No, just what you're wearing that evening.
Can you just confirm the date for me that we decided on?
Thursday, June 1st. Sorry.
June
I'm writing the
1st,
word.
yes.
Yes, June 1st. I'm writing tent and saying tent. June 1st.
Okay. All right. So the next on our list is grant cycle marketing plan. So on the timeline that we made, that Ava and I put together, it would be good to do a press release announcing the recipients, and then start to prep some marketing material for the next grant cycle that opens in the fall. And we thought it would be a good idea to work on that in the spring so that we don't really have to try to be working on that in the summer. Ava, is that something that you're still comfortable, like you and I working on, or what are your thoughts on that?
So is the purpose just for local media, I assume, because we don't have any sort of lodging facility partnership?
Yeah, I think. I mean, anyone is allowed, anyone in Massachusetts is allowed to apply. We just typically usually award grants to people that have like a specific plan with an organization on Nantucket, or like have it figured
Well,
out.
yeah,
Like,
because they need somewhere to be. So I think it can go just local and Boston Globe. I mean, I don't know, without any advertising behind it, I don't think it's gonna necessarily get picked up by the pay for plays, but we can definitely do like Inky and Boston Globe. Do you want to organize it into rough info and then I'll clean it into a press release, Emma?
yeah, I think what I'm thinking, and I can look at some of the ones that Jordana has done in the past, but just
Yeah.
to say what organizations or individuals received funding, and then when
The grant
people can
cycle.
apply next fall.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to do like some highlights of who's receiving, and then the grant cycle, because to me the news is more the grant cycle, but I think for local press it would be cool for them to highlight who's been awarded. So yeah, if you want to get me the rough info, I will make it into a press release and service it to those publications.
Great. And then should we have an additional one that goes, we should probably have an additional one that goes out again in the fall. When it's closer to the application time.
Yeah, we can do a reminder then, but I think that it's nice to send one out a couple months prior so that people can start working on their submissions.
Yeah, definitely.
And also because, like, to me the news is that we're holding the awards to honor these people too, so that makes it time sensitive for June. So I think it could go out in May, that's happening, and also this is the upcoming cycle. That
Do
would be
we
my
want
recommendation.
to include that we're holding the reception?
Yeah, I think that's the time sensitive news piece. Otherwise, why are we telling people about it in the spring?
Well, because we had initially put it on for February and January, like right when we approve the grants, to say, hey, these are the people that have won these grants.
Yeah, but no one's really listening on a local perspective then. So I think it makes sense to announce it in May.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, either one, I think, as long as I think it hits multiple points. Like, it's to say who won the grants and to acknowledge them, and then also to get other people interested in applying.
Yes, but I think that the piece that people actually care about who aren't us is that there's a grant cycle coming up that they can apply for, so they can start thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then secondarily, obviously, it'd be wonderful if they want to mention the awardees, but that's less like news relevant. And I think the thing that ties it together is we're doing this special event to honor them this year, next month. And I think we're also going to invite the media to join us if they want to, even though they probably won't. So it could be in a little bit in the form of an invitation to join us, because those are usually more well received.
But so would we be putting, because the event's going to be private, right? Or
I mean, it's going to be invite only, but I'm going to invite Jason, and I'm going to invite the some arts and culture people from the
right,
Globe.
but in
We'll invite
terms
the
of
Inky.
in terms of the press release, do we want to mention the event in the press release?
No.
Okay.
I think what we're saying is we're doing an award ceremony. Here's the invitation to the writer, and here's the press release on the awardees and the life cycle of
Okay.
the award cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And is there any other marketing that anyone has in terms of getting the word out about the grant cycle that we need to be prepping now to have out in
Well,
the fall?
yeah, last year I made the Instagram post for people, for different organizations to put up, because we had solicited images to use. There were very limited high-res images. So we may want to dip in again to ask for some images for an Instagram post we could design that could go for their different organizations, or an overlay, or encourage them to make their own content. But that's what I would do. I think that we should ask the awardees to post on the cycle once we have the press release.
Okay.
Do we know if the funds will have been dispersed by the time of the event?
The funds are dispersed when people request for reimbursement. So if the projects have been completed, they need to fill out the paperwork and submit it back to us for reimbursement. So that is largely dependent on the recipients and the timelines of their projects.
Right.
We have already received the one from the book festival because they had their author. I just need to get it signed and submit it.
And do the grantees have the paperwork? Have they been sent the paperwork?
Yep, it gets sent out in the approval letters.
Okay.
And we have on our timeline a reminder in April. I think it's okay to push that back a little bit because we were late in sending out the approvals. But the idea was to do a reminder in the spring and again in the fall, because what we learned this year is that many organizations were not submitting the reimbursement and therefore never receiving their funding. And that's why we had so much funding available this year. So we're going to try to be better about reminding the recipients to return the reimbursement forms to us. Does anyone have any other ideas for marketing the grant cycle, or like informing the art and culture community about our grants?
Have we thought of sending it to Margaretta, who has access to that wonderful nonprofit list that she sends information out to?
Sending a press release?
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
on that same note, I had in the other items section, I hope you don't mind if I kind of jump to it because it's kind of relevant to what we're talking about right now, if that's okay.
Yeah.
But each year, how the priorities are determined by each cultural council. Mass Cultural Council asks that we have folks fill out a survey, and then that's supposed to help determine what our priorities are for the upcoming year. I don't know if you guys have done that in the past. I emailed over what Worcester did last year for theirs, but we're supposed to get ours done before August 31st of this year. I figured it would be worthwhile just kind of tweaking Worcester's survey questions for Nantucket, of course, with you guys leading and guiding it in whatever direction you know, whatever you deem appropriate, and then sharing that. And that would be another way of us sharing that the Cultural Council is here. There is this grant cycle, and we're trying to figure out what programs do you as a community want to see happen, and what programs do you want to see funded. And that would at least get people hopefully talking about it a little bit. I don't think we're going to get 3,000 responses like Worcester did, but
Yeah, I think that I wonder if we want to have that ready to go in to the press release. I mean, that could also be a secondary thing we put out in a press release, but to get people to fill that out. As far as I'm aware, I think in the past we've just copied the priorities from years previous, but I would love to see that updated or at least reviewed. So that's a good reminder that we have to have that by August. Maybe that's something we could work on in the next meeting, is to take a look, if everyone could take a look at that Worcester survey and think about like how we might adapt that for ourselves, and then we could work on it together at the next meeting and try to get that out to the public.
if it's helpful, I can put it in a Google form. I think I sent you guys a Word doc as well, but I can put it in a Google form and share the link with you guys as editors, and then you can go in and kind of work on it.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
I'll make a note to do that.
And then, yeah, if you, could you put that on the agenda for next meeting in May to work on that?
Yes.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is open council positions. Chantal, do you have an update on where everyone is at in their terms?
So it looks like most of you expire in June of 2023. It's kind of scary. I think Ava is good till 2024. I briefly looked at it earlier today when I was updating your roles and whatnot. So I don't remember off the top of my head, and I should have printed it out or written it down. But that is coming up. So just for you guys to think about whether or not you want to remain on the council. And if not, just let us know so that we can at least start putting it out there for people who are interested. Additionally, I was chatting with Timothea a few weeks ago, and she mentioned that cultural councils can have up to 25 members. I think that might be a little bit much. But wondering if you guys were interested in expanding the cultural council to more than, I think there are 7 of you right now. Yeah, 7, counting Jordana, because she is, even though her term has technically ended, she's still technically on it until June. When the select board will have to rescind their appointment of her and then make her seat available, which is a rather interesting process that I'm learning about as I go along through town council and how all of that works. So there's technically going to be 1 seat coming available, but not sure if while I'm adding that extra seat or advertising for that additional seat in June, if you'd be interested in adding any additional seats.
So right now with the town of Nantucket, we only have 7.
Yeah, but you can have Massachusetts trumps it all, so you guys can have up to 25.
Yeah. But would we need to like request that from the select board or something if we wanted more than 7?
No, I would just send them the Massachusetts law
Okay.
and talk to town council and Erica and figure out where to go from there.
And do you know if, I feel like they send us a reminder that we're expiring and we just have to send it back and say if we want to reapply or something?
Yes.
Okay. And then can you, was it 6 years is the max, or was that just for chair?
You can serve on the council for 2 3-year terms consecutively. And then you would have to take a year off and then come back.
Okay, because I feel like I've done this for a while. I don't know. Maybe not 6 years, but
If you'd like, I can go back through and figure out when you started.
yeah. That would be helpful if you can.
Don't leave us, Emma.
Cool. I won't if I don't have to.
You can't lose anyone else. Okay. All right. I made a note of that. I will check in and I'll send you an email separately once I find out.
We can also, like, if at the reception, if we're having someone speak, just to kind of welcome and explain what the reception is for, and explain what the cultural council does, we can also say like, we're looking for new members to add on. So that could be a small way that we can recruit a little bit. Okay. And now we just have to talk about our upcoming meeting schedule, which,
I'm sorry, Emma, before you move on,
yeah.
was that a yay or nay on additional positions outside of the one that's going to be vacant?
Oh, does anyone want to make a motion on that?
I kind of feel like we have a manageable sized group at this point. I'm not sure we need to expand much, if at all.
But if 3 people's terms are up in June, then so it would go down to, did you say 3 people or most of us?
I think 3 of you are up in June. Excuse me. Let me
Yeah, so
hop
I
on
think
the-
it would be like Ava, Tony, and Sarah that have longer terms, or not longer terms, but more past June.
I don't think I've been on for 3 years, have I?
I'm logging in right now. I'll tell you in just a second.
In the end, I bet we'll have enough trouble filling whatever open seats we have. And
Yeah.
there's a ton of interest, and then maybe we can expand, but probably should just focus on filling the seats we know.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like if 3 people are up in June, although it doesn't mean that they're gonna stop doing it. Ideally, we all stay on.
So Emma and Michael, you're both up June 30th of 2023. Tony and Ava and Sarah are good till June 30th of 2024. And I'm assuming that, Justin's still here. So he's good till June 30th of 2025, yeah. Because his ended last year and he re-upped.
Okay, so hypothetically, we might have 3 seats to fill for me, Michael, and Jordana. Starting in
I'm
July.
definitely going to reapply, so.
Yay. Okay. And do you know, Shanta, at this in 2023, can Jordana get back on? Well, because it will be the town of Nantucket's fiscal year 2024, right? In July.
Yes.
Is she eligible to come back? Because was it in 2022 that her term technically ended?
Yeah, that's where it gets a little tricky because with them reappointing her when they weren't supposed to, she's technically still on the council, which is why I keep her on the email list. So she still gets invited to the meetings if she wants to attend. She just technically can't vote for this year, but she's still technically a council member. They have to rescind that appointment in June.
Okay.
And then her time, which really messes us up.
Because they can't reappoint her if they haven't rescinded it or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm not quite sure why we have to wait till June, but apparently something happens in June and they have to wait till June for it to essentially, for them to be able to do it.
Okay.
But let me double check on that to see if there's like some sort of way for her to be able to come back on.
Yeah.
Since she technically hasn't attended meetings all of this fiscal year.
Yeah, like she hasn't been voting.
Yeah. So let me double check that just to be on the safe side. That way I'm not speaking out of turn.
Okay. So what are we're voting, we're looking for a motion on whether we want to add more than 7 seats, is that correct?
Or if we don't take any action, then we keep it at 7.
Yes.
Okay, so well, we need a motion on that.
I think we don't need a motion to do nothing.
Okay,
We only need a motion to do something.
okay, so we want to take no action. Does that work for everyone, or does anyone want to discuss that more? Okay. So we're going to take no action on that, Chantal.
Okay.
In terms of our upcoming meeting schedule, I think we're still doing the second Tuesday. So that would be May 9th, and then we have our event on June 1st. And then do we want to reevaluate our meeting?
There's a
I think-
chance I may not be available on May 9th, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Quorum is just 4 out of 6, I think, majority. So I think we can cross that bridge when we get to it. To know, like Chantal's been great about sending it out early enough that if anyone can't make it, we can decide whether we need to reschedule for a quorum. Do we want to decide now if we want to meet in June or take a little break?
It might be good to meet in June just to kind of do a postmortem on the event.
Yeah, I think that would probably be good. And then, make sure we have stuff prepped for the fall, and then maybe take July and August off from meeting.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, so let's plan to meet May 9th and June 13th for now, and we can kind of adjust that as we go.
Okay.
Any other items for discussion? And
I have one, Emma.
yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
You guys went over the press release, which was something I was going to bring up, so that's done. We talked about the survey, but you guys are currently a reimbursement program, and Timothea wants to find out if we would like to remain reimbursement or do direct granting.
I think that direct granting might be a good idea for us, just seeing as how tough it's been to get people to do the reimbursement, and then it's less work for us to have to follow up on that.
I
So you
totally
still
agree.
will have to follow up because they have to file a report with you that you still have to do the reporting and submit and all that. It's just that they get the money up front, and then the problem is you give them the money and then you have to chase them for the report. And if you don't submit the report, you might not get funded again for the following year.
Is it a different kind of report than the one we do?
It's slightly different. It's a little different, but not that much.
Okay.
Let me see if I can hunt down.
Yeah, it might probably be good to get more info, and I'm happy to meet with Timothy about that. I just assume that I'd probably be the one doing the report, and I want to make sure it's not too much, because I feel like I'm just like, okay, I think I have this process down. So if it's like too different, it would be good to know. Maybe we can stick with, well, see, I have to see too if I can still do another term, because that would totally change things. But if we could see if we can stick with this reimbursement for the next cycle, which would be fiscal year 24, and then reassess.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't really have strong feelings one way or the other about it.
I mean, I know as a recipient, it seems like it's been kind of complicated to know like when you're getting the funding. Do you think it would be easier for you, Michael and Tony, who have done this before, like to get the funding up front and then submit a report later?
Most of the grants that we work with work that way. We
Okay.
get funding and then we send a report once the event or whatever it is.
That's
happens.
good to know.
And what keeps us honest about that is we can't apply for usually another grant or another round of it unless we've submitted the report.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's good to know because I'd rather it be a process that's more familiar. And I've never really been on the other end of it.
And I mean, quite honestly, I've already paid for the so we have to use the money out front in order to get reimbursed. And if you don't have a big budget, that could be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these smaller programs, it would probably be really helpful for them to get the money to do the program and then report on.
Shanta, do you know when we would have to let them know?
By August 31st. So when you submit the priorities, you have to,
Okay.
decide. But we do have to let Timothea know and talk to the town treasurer. Make sure that they're okay with the switch over as well.
Okay. Once I can figure out if I can renew my term, then I can try to get some more information about it. Let's are you guys okay with tabling it until May?
That makes sense.
Okay. So if you could put that also on the May agenda, Shanta, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay. Oh shoot, I lost my agenda. Anything else that anyone wants to discuss?
No, Emma, thank you so much for leading us.
You're welcome. Awesome. I think, yeah, so if you guys can take a look at the survey from Worcester, and start thinking about that. And I'll put together some notes on a press release and work with Ava on that. And then I think we're good. Any motions to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we would like to adjourn at 4:46 p.m., please.
Bye, guys. Have a nice afternoon.
Bye.
Feel better,
Thank you
Tony.
so much, Shanta.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for coming.